nation's leader has joined the chorus. Muammar Gaddafi wants the UN or African Union to look into abuses in his own country. Scores of people have died in the latest clashes, and now anti-regime gunmen are trying to advance towards Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte. Let's run through the very latest. The rebel-controlled city of AlJazeera came under heavy shelling from pro-Gaddafi forces on Saturday. Tanks were seen on the city's outskirts. A local doctor told AlJazeera that up to 15 people were killed in the latest violence, while medical supplies are running dangerously low. But Gaddafi's regime has been insisting that its forces have made inroads into that city. Libyan state TV has shown pictures of tanks, armored personnel carriers and other weapons that it claims were captured from the rebels in AlJazeera. And state TV has also broadcast interviews of Tripoli residents going about their normal lives. Many are shown lashing out at the foreign media, saying they were distorting the situation in Libya. And in the opposition stronghold of Benghazi, the head of the newly formed interim council tells AlJazeera it expects international recognition very soon. This as the city buried some of those killed in an explosion at an arms dump on Friday. The attack is being blamed on Gaddafi's forces. Further to the west, rebels claim to have taken full control of the oil port of Ras Lanouf. Some government soldiers in the strategic town have reportedly switched sides. Hod Abdelhamid is there.
This is the newest checkpoint of the anti-Gaddafi forces as they continue their push towards the west of Libya. Their advance has been difficult as Gaddafi loyalists have used all their might to retain control of oil hubs around the country. A deadly battle raged for hours in Ras Lanouf, a key oil terminal in the east. The rebels say they came under heavy artillery fire and shelling on Friday.
The military base is still theirs. About 20 officers from the Farjan tribe refused to fight. They hung them, and then we entered the base.
The Gaddafi forces retreated, and the rebels got hold of weapons left behind. With more firepower, there's a belief that victory is drawing closer.
It's a battle where every inch of territory is fought for. Now they're regrouping, and they say they're getting ready to head first to Sirte and then to Tripoli.
The rebels enjoy the support of soldiers and commanders who have defected. They have taken the lead in the push.
We're from the army. We're waiting for orders to move forward. The only condition to stop fighting is for Gaddafi to leave.
The rebels have pushed the front line and hundreds continue to stream on the coastal road, vowing death or victory. But from now on, it's going to get much tougher. The coming battle for Sirte will be a decisive turn in the uprising that has engulfed Libya. Hod Abdelhamid, AlJazeera, Ras Lanouf.
So the propaganda war goes on. The leadership in Tripoli maintains AlZawiya is in its control. This footage was provided by the Libyan regime. It's said to show Martyr Square in AlZawiya on Friday, highlighting positions where it says protesters have artillery and weapons. A foreign ministry spokesman says forces have been told not to engage with protesters in Ras Lanouf.
We hope by tomorrow morning life will back to normal in Zawiya. Regarding the situation on the ground in the Ras Lanouf and the Brega, the army is still abiding to the instruction not to engage in severe fighting in those areas.
Meanwhile, the opposition council in Benghazi has appointed a number of former diplomats to key positions. Mustafa Abid Jalil told AlJazeera it expects to be recognized internationally very soon.
Ali Isawi, the former ambassador to India, is now in charge of foreign affairs. He will start his work from tomorrow. There are some contacts with Arabic and European states to seek recognition of the Council, and we are sensing that there are positive steps in that direction to recognize the Council. There is a military leadership who is coordinating the military activities on the various fronts, and there are specialized and professional people, but the support of the Libyan people is key in these activities. Our goal is to push towards Sirte and break the grip between Musrata and eventually break the hold on Tripoli.
U.S. humanitarian aid is now getting through to people escaping the violence in Libya. And for details, over to Shihab Ratansi in our Washington Broadcast Center.
Divya, the Pentagon says that aid is being distributed by the Red Crescent at Tunisia's border with Libya. The package includes 2,000 blankets, 40 rolls of plastic sheeting, and nearly 10,000 containers of water. The U.S. has also sent medical aid for distribution inside Libya, which is being delivered to the International Medical Corps. And U.S. planes have been transporting Egyptians who fled from Libya to Cairo. The Obama administration has said its current priority for Libya is humanitarian aid then. But President Obama has also repeatedly called on Gaddafi to step down. And while the U.S. has supported regime change in Libya and eventually in Egypt, it's taking a different approach with other protests in the region, emphasizing dialogue and encouraging existing rulers to implement reforms. Some U.S. officials have argued that each country's protest is unique and should be considered on its own terms. A look now at some of the administration's comments on the protests in the Middle East.
Going forward, we will continue to send a clear message. The violence must stop. Muammar Gaddafi has lost legitimacy to lead, and he must leave.
There have been reform steps taken, which we want to see continue. We want to see strengthened. Bahrain is a friend and an ally, and has been for many years. And while all governments have a responsibility to provide citizens with security and stability, we call on restraint.
President Saleh remains the president of Yemen. He has, in fact, opened up a dialogue with his opposition. There's some fairly public negotiating going on, but this is exactly the kind of give and take that we believe is necessary.
Well, someone with a particular interest in that comment is Faraz al-Matrahi. He's an activist with a Yemeni opposition group based here in Washington, D.C., called Yemeni Youth Abroad for Change. When you hear statements like that from the State Department, what do you make of the U.S. policy regarding your country?
Unfortunately, it's very disappointing to hear those comments because it's very apparent that the Obama administration has taken a reactive measure rather than a proactive and preventive measure in the United States. They say that each nation is very distinct in the issues that arise within their country. Unfortunately, it's not. They're very identical. What started in Tunis dwindled to Egypt and is spreading across the region. And the Arab population within the region all have legitimate concerns, and it's not unique in that sense. And this is a golden opportunity for the Obama administration to take advantage of and increase the credibility within the Arab streets to try to take proactive and preventive measures.
See, I mean, many in the administration, many perhaps in Yemen, certainly in Libya, they're arguing that it's actually U.S. intervention which would undermine the opposition. It would discredit the opposition and give those in power the chance to say, look, this is all a U.S. plot.
The best route for the United States to take is a supportive and humanitarian route and a route of condemnation. It's taken that route with particular countries in the region, but as you mentioned, it did not take that route with Yemen. It's taken a more diplomatic route. And we need to get the Obama administration